article Web 3.0, What the Internet Would Look Like Without Net Neutrality, written by the journalist of the Huffington Post, Betsy Isaacson, which was posted on the 15th of January 2014, argues that without net neutrality, many of the tools that have become crucial to the American democracy may in the future be restricted to the rich, leading to the statement, "Information shouldn't be a luxury," said by Todd O'Boyle, the program director of the liberal advocacy organization Common Cause. On the 14th of January 2014, the U.S. Court of Appeals in D.C. came up to the conclusion that the 2010 Open Internet Order is unlawful. This being said, our right to search the web freely with the ability to access and build to any website and receive all traffic flow in the same way is being threatened. In the future, Internet access to the public will be diminished and the Internet as we know it will be destroyed. To keep the ability to access massive amount of information at the tip of our fingers, there should be a policy in place that states that anything other than net neutrality will violate the right of a citizen to have valuable information that without net neutrality could be taken away because of financial status or background. First, we will explain how having a policy on net neutrality may cause inequality between internet providers as well as in consumers. Then we will state the source of the issue, and finally, we will provide a solution to the current ways that the government has decided to place net neutrality.
The Internet does not have a policy established for net neutrality, and this will cause inequality between the Internet providers and the Internet users. Millions around the world access the Internet on a daily basis, but without net neutrality, we'll have to pay more in order to go on specific websites or just to browse the Internet. The equality will be two very different Internets, for the rich and for the poor. The poor Internet users will be restricted to only a couple of websites and limited to the cheapest bundles available. According to an article from the Huffington Post, by a journalist named Betsy Isaacson, she published her article, Web 3.0, What the Internet Would Look Like Without Net Neutrality, on January 15, 2014. She states the problems without net neutrality, that the ISPs, Internet Service Provider, will take charge of your Internet like cable does your TV channels. ISPs without net neutrality is much like cable television. They offer bundles that control the sites you are able to see. The cheapest, fastest bundles will probably include sites that pay internet service providers the most. Net neutrality is vital for the public. The millions of people around the world will be restricted from going to YouTube or Netflix because they can't purchase or access the website. This will not only affect our recreational use of the internet, but our learning and research. According to the journalist Barbara Stripling from www.wire.com, she wrote, "This will not only affect our recreational use of the internet, but our learning and research capabilities." From Wired.com, she wrote the article, Why Net Neutrality's Demise Hurts the Poor Most. She posted this on January 16, 2014. The websites will cause difficulty for the public to use and limit the internet, and this will cause the affordable internet access for school, homework assignment bases, job training videos, medical and scientific research, and many other essential services to be restricted. Now I discuss the problems of not having net neutrality. Now, who is the source of the issue?
Who is to blame? The FCC, ISPs, or the court? According to an article from the Washington Post, Federal Appeals Court strikes down net neutrality rules by Brian Fung, a journalist for the Washington Post on technology. On January 14, 2014, he states, a federal appeals court has struck down the Federal Communications Commission's net neutrality rules, which prohibited internet providers from blocking or prioritizing web traffic. The net neutrality rules that were turned down by the courts is called the Open Internet Policy. FCC.gov/Open Internet states that this policy they are pushing for is to keep the internet the way we know it. The FCC regulates radio, television, satellite, and wire. The court does not want FCC to control the internet. However, they are not trying to control the internet, just make sure that the internet stays the same for everyone and preventing any changes to occur. It stops the ISPs from doing any unlawful things to people who use the internet. By not passing this policy, internet service providers can limit what we see and use. Now that the FCC cannot control the internet service providers are now free to make deals with some services to provide faster service, states Betsy Isaacson, a journalist from the Huffington Post, on January 15, 2014, in an article from the Huffington Post, Web 3.0, What the Internet Could Look Like Without Net Neutrality. Depending on our provider, we will have limitations on what we see, what we use. Not having the policy against the ISPs will cause our future use of the internet to change. I discussed who is to blame for this issue. Now to discuss what is the cure to solve this issue.
We would need some form of net neutrality so that there may be equality among internet users. Students at university libraries rely on free internet service to complete their homework, research, projects, presentations, and etc. The internet should be free and equal for all students so that we may all have the same internet quality. Not every student has the money to pay for better internet service, and it wouldn't be fair if the students who have the money to pay get better internet service while the others get the average service. Being a college student myself, I usually don't have the money to do what I would like, and on average, more than 60% of my day consists of using the internet. The issue on net neutrality also brings up the concern between the rich and the poor. Many people use Netflix, regardless of their social class, to watch movies, update themselves with the latest TV shows that have come out. If people were able to pay for better quality videos on Netflix, the less fortunate would be at a disadvantage, and they would feel neglected because they would not be able to have the money to get the kinds of service that the others are getting. I myself am a part of the less fortunate group. I would feel bad that I cannot afford to pay for better service. I would want to have the same service as others. If the services also came in bundles, that would bring about another problem regarding inequality. The poor would ultimately be limited as to what shows they could watch and the quality of which they are watching the video. To conclude this speech, a policy should be made regarding the issue of net neutrality. If a policy is made, everyone would be able to freely browse the internet and have the same internet privileges as their neighbors. If a policy is not made, people's right to freely browse the web would be taken from them due to the prices put on internet use. There is also the issue of inequality among people with different social classes. The poor would be limited to what websites they could use, because they wouldn't be able to pay for certain sites. The rich, on the other hand, are less limited. The issue of net neutrality should be a concern for everyone. Many people are users of YouTube, and access to this website has been free for everyone, but how would you feel if you had to pay a monthly or annual cost to access this website? Netflix is another widely used website. If a policy regarding net neutrality was not put into play, people would be able to pay a higher cost for better quality videos, which isn't fair for those who can't afford to pay for the better quality. The issue of net neutrality not only links to the disadvantage of the poor, but it also links to the freedom people have to freely browse the internet with the same privileges as others.